friends, Laura A. Grace here, the author of Dear Author, Letters from a Bookish Fangirl, and Team Lines of Poetry Collection, and Gathering Faith, my upcoming manga. I am so excited you're here. We are continuing our Top 5 Wednesday, and I'm a little hesitant about today's prompt, but if you're not familiar with Top 5 Wednesday, it was formed by Lainey in 2013. We are now over on Goodreads, and basically each week we have a different prompt on Wednesdays. We choose 5 books, or manga in this case, to share that are related to that said prompt. Like I said, I'm a little hesitant about today's prompt because I'm not exactly fond of talking about books that I didn't really like. And today's prompt is called Well, That Dragged. And I just want to throw it out there. It's like a disclaimer. Just because I didn't like it doesn't mean that you might not like it. I just sort of felt maybe it wasn't for me for the reasons I'm sure that I will specify with each book that is mentioned. And with that, this prompt is basically talking about books that you felt maybe had, say, weird pacing, that they didn't make sense, they weren't jiving with you. It could also be that maybe you felt that the book was a little bit longer than it should have been. Just sort of things of that nature for this prompt. Now, these are in no certain order. The first one I guess I will mention is the manga Weathering with You. I was really excited for this manga. I got a review copy through NetGalley, and I had been really curious about the anime for a while. I had wanted to rent it, but I saw it was a little bit pricier than what I wanted to rent for just a movie. So I was like, well, hey, we'll just, compromise and I will read the manga. I thought the manga was a little bit slow, and I feel bad saying that because didn't absolutely love the characters. I loved the girl character. I loved her a lot. I know there was one part concerning a memory that the young man had. I can't remember his name. I can't remember any of their names. But there was a memory that he had, and it didn't make sense to me. And so I felt like I just didn't have quite as deep as a connection as I wanted. Now, one thing that I have not seen in another manga like this is how the manga creator created the sense of sound. You could just hear the manga. I know that's really weird to say, but it just really captured the sound of rain. And I just could feel or I could just hear the sound of rain as I was reading. I really loved how the manga creator brought those sounds to life when I was reading. It was that was really special for this manga and something that has still stuck with me despite that I didn't absolutely love it. I think I gave the manga 3 stars, and that was just because I really felt that it was slow and I wish more would have happened. Even though I feel like when the girl was involved, I loved a lot of the things with her. I was so curious about her story and her backstory and where things would go next. I feel if the library had a copy, I would definitely pick up book 2. I don't think I would actually buy it for myself though. For number 2, I used to have this manga, but I unfortunately got rid of it because I was so disappointed. And it's Gothic Sports. I mentioned that in my first Top 5 Wednesday of how excited I was for this series. Book 4 or volume 4 is not translated, so we only have the first 3, volumes 4 and 5, I believe. So we only have the first 3 volumes. I liked the first volume. I thought it was pretty good. And then I read volume 2 and I really just don't know what happened. I was so sad because it just did not flow. I felt like the main character was just totally not herself. I feel like she was going everything that she stood for in volume 1 because she's trying to become a soccer player. She had switched to a new school. And so they form this soccer team with this certain style of fashion. Volume 2 happens, and she's being so whiny. She's not being a good team player like she was in the first one. She's, in my opinion, I'm you're totally laying down your teammates down, even if they don't say anything. But I just felt it went so against all the things, like I said, that she stood for in volume 1, all the things you work so hard for. And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna read volume 3, and I loved volume 3. In fact, I was so disappointed that volume 3 was so good and that we don't get volumes 4 and 5 in English because everything was better. I felt the art was stronger. The story especially was a lot stronger. And we had that team aspect where everybody's coming together and being a team. We didn't have all this whininess that we had in volume 2. But as a whole, volume 3 was so good. It was so good. But I did not keep that manga because I just couldn't see myself going back and rereading it because volume 2 just was so hard. It was so hard. I really wish that there had been an editor that that worked maybe more extensively with the creator to help that sense of pacing and really just help our main character be less whiny. Because I'm like, why would you do this? Sorry, I've said that like 3 times, but that was really, really hard, and I was so bummed that I didn't absolutely love that series because the covers are absolutely gorgeous for sure, and that was one reason that I got them besides the epic sounding premise. For number 3, I'm a little ashamed of this one, to be honest. It is Love Attack, and I bought the first volume. Man, I love that first volume. That first volume was so good. The premise was awesome. It was epic. I had such a fun time. I love the dynamics of the romance so very, very, very much. Like, it was probably one of my favorite mangas at that time, and I was like, well, man, I'm gonna go get the next volume. I ordered, I think, volumes 2 and 3 from thrift books. And I was noticing that it was becoming much more dramatic, which is not unsurprising because this is high school shoujo manga. But there was this unnecessary drama. I mean, this was above what I could handle for high school drama. Like, I just couldn't do it. And then I was like, okay, well, I've read 3 of the, I think it was 3 of the 5, 3 of the 6 volumes, and I'm ashamed to say, guys, at that time, because I wasn't super involved in the manga community yet, I went and read the scans for 4 and 5, and I skimmed them, and I was so upset, because, I don't know if you guys want spoilers or not for that, but just the antics were awful. Like, it was just, I just felt really dumb of what the main character was doing. I was so angry, and just where it ended, I didn't feel I had enough closure for the series, and I ended up leaving not disappointed, but like angry and upset because it was like the first volume was fantastic. It was just so good. And I'm just like, we have this unnecessary drama. And I mean like unnecessary drama. Okay, if we're gonna have a love triangle, that is completely fine. Okay, I'm not fond of that at all, but I'm willing to put up with it because I really like the main character and I love the fighting aspect of the story. But then that aspect sort of goes away as the volumes continue. You have a third, or this other girl that comes in. She's causing so many problems, and there was just no trust there. Just too many times, too many scenarios where I'm like, you just need to trust that he loves you and accept that. And if you're not, you need to get out the picture because, I mean, that guy should have not put up with the crap that happens later on in those volumes. Like, he deserved better. And I don't mean like a better girl or anything like that. I just mean he deserved to be treated better. So I felt that volume, or that manga series, was just a little bit long. Even though the first volume was so good, guys. It was so good. I could recommend the first volume and then just make up whatever you think happens next for the rest of the series because it just gets extremely over-exaggerated drama that happens later on in the series. For number 4, it's an older title and it's called Ocean of Secrets. I was really intrigued by this manga because it was created by I forget where the young woman lives, but it was self-published at first and she got a deal with Tokyo Pop because her art was so amazing and so well done. And I was like, well, man, I was like, this sounds really good. I was really intrigued by the premise of it. The first volume was okay. The second one was really boring, and I just feel so bad for that. Like, I just felt like nothing was happening, and the art was gorgeous. I mean, you can tell so much that she has worked really, really hard at her manga, and just so many props to her for that. And I just felt bad that I didn't connect with the main character. The story was just really slow, and I wished a little bit of the word building was fleshed out because there was a cool concept with these armbands, but I wasn't exactly sure how that all played a role. I did see that the third volume has released. I don't know if I'm going to pick it up or not. There's not enough there where things make sense, where you're like, okay, I want to know more, just because I'm like, it wasn't engaging enough. So I was really disappointed by that because I really wanted to support this manga creator and just, like I said, you can see that she's worked so hard, but the story itself, I just couldn't connect with. For number 5, it's a series that I also used to have, and that is Punch. This was also one of the titles that was mentioned in my first Top 5 Wednesday video. I have mixed feelings on this series. I really do. I don't know. I feel like it should have been shorter. I feel like 2 volumes would have been better than the 3. I read the first one, but there was a scene that I just felt was totally unnecessary and inappropriate, and I felt very blindsided by that. panel pages. Very, very blindsided because I did a lot of research on this manga and nobody had mentioned it. But the third one was completely, like, there was solid closure at the end of volume 2. And the third one was just different characters kind of thing. Like, we didn't follow the main girl and the main guy. And so I think it was basically, if I'm remembering right, this is hard to say because this is like spoilers, but we'll just say that the one guy that was also involved in all of this stuff, he gets his own story, I guess, in volume 3 and sort of has a point to redeem himself. But just the dynamics of that story felt very different from volumes 1 and 2. And like I said, volume 2 was a great closing. Like, I do feel that even though I didn't love Punch as a whole, mainly I think because I just felt so blindsided by that scene and I was really upset about it, I just couldn't connect by the end, if that makes sense. And I guess that wraps up my video. I'm really sad if I hurt anybody's feelings by mentioning any of their favorite manga that was mentioned in this video. I'm so sorry. Have there been any manga that you've read recently that were sort of like, this isn't for me, it was too long, or maybe it dragged or just didn't jive with you? Let me know, and let me know if you've read any of these manga. I'd love to just hear your thoughts. And again, I'm so sorry if I include your favorite manga here. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and thanks so much for watching. Bye!